I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like the sequels. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is another episode of collecting every LEGO Star Wars minifigure. In this series, I am simply trying to collect every single Star Wars minifigure. This does not include those rare earth mineral figures like the bronze Boba Fett or anything ridiculous like that, but it does include anything that was available to the general populace. So this episode, like you guys see in the title, is definitely the best one yet. This isn't the biggest haul in terms of number of figures, but when it comes to the actual value of the figures, like the total value of this haul, this one easily blows every single other haul that I've done out of the water. I'm actually super excited about this episode because I have acquired a figure that I have wanted for so long, a figure that I definitely didn't think I'd own anytime soon, but now it is in my possession. So let's go ahead and start off with the beginning of the haul, and then the last figure is going to be that very special one. First up, we have a Gamorrean guard with dark gray arms. So LEGO has done, I guess, 3 Gamorrean guards at this point. There was this original one, which came in the Jabba's Prize set, which was in 2003, I believe. And the thing that I guess distinguishes this from the one right after this is that one, I think, just had, I don't know if it had dark bluish gray arms or it just had brown arms. I would assume it just had brown arms because it looks kind of weird having the brown torso, dark gray arms, and then the sand green body and legs. But I could be wrong about that. I'm sure someone in the comment section will correct me on that. But nonetheless, this was the original Gamorrean guard, and as with a lot of these original molds, the mold is actually pretty incredible. Like the detail in it, you can just see in his face and in his snout. It all looks really good. The issue is that it's not printed at all, so that really detracts from it. But the most recent Gamorrean guard is, super detailed compared to this one, so LEGO has obviously evolved this design. But I do want to say this design wasn't bad at the beginning. It just really could have used some printing, so I'm glad that they made that the standard eventually with making these monochromatic figures actually printed and actually detailed, especially with Yoda. Yoda was an especially egregious one, considering he's such an important character. But I mean, not really much to say about this figure. It is very sand green. That's the best way I could describe it. And I guess I'm just happy to fill this really niche figure in my collection because I have both of the other Gamorrean guards. Next up, we have the Gonk droid. This is actually technically not the original Gonk droid. The original Gonk droid was in dark gray. This is dark bluish gray, so this would have been the second one that came out in 2005 with that original Sandcrawler set. One thing I will say is, this is so nostalgic for me just playing the LEGO Star Wars video games, I guess LEGO Star Wars 2 specifically, and I honestly prefer this design over the more recent Gonk droids that LEGO has done. I mean, this design isn't perfect by any means. LEGO is still not really able to capture the sloping in the side of the Gonk droid, but in terms of just the Gonk droids we've gotten, I probably prefer this one the most. Part of that might be nostalgia, but I just really feel like even with the more recent ones, LEGO really hasn't captured the overall aesthetic of a Gonk droid. So I really am super excited to have this figure. This is such a meme-worthy figure. We'll probably throw this into Starkiller as a Easter egg. And all in all, I'm just happy to have this figure. But this was not a cheap figure, because it only came in that Sandcrawler set, which was, pretty expensive set at the time. There's not a ton of these in circulation. So the fact that I haven't gotten my hands on one at this point actually makes me really happy. Next figure is Lando Calrissian. This is the Lando that came out in that 2009 Home 1 set. So he's wearing his, General Calrissian outfit. That's what he'd be at this point. I like this figure. I feel like for a 2009 figure, the detail is actually really good. It's kind of disappointing he doesn't actually have pupils, but, it is what it is. This is a 2009 figure. But, the printing on the torso, I think, is incredible. Even if I did want to use this particular Lando because I think they updated it in the most recent A-Wing they did. The Rebel A-Wing they did has, I guess, an updated version of this outfit for Lando. But it's a decent, just generic looking Rebel leader outfit, or torso specifically. So I'd probably throw this torso around in a Rebel hanger or a Yavin 4 mock if I was doing one of those. Other than that, I can't help but comment on the fact that he's sporting that classic Lego hair, and I'm so glad that Lego strayed away from doing that for Lando, because it's really probably the worst part about this figure. That classic Lego hair, man. It's really not for Lando at all. The fin hair piece is so much better for him. And he comes with this, I don't know, I guess it might be a sand blue cape. Pretty nice looking cape. I'm actually happy at how good of a condition the cape is in, considering this figure is 10 years old. And overall, just, happy to add this into my collection. This isn't one that I would use in a mock other than the torso, but it's a good figure to fill in some blanks. And now for the moment of truth. Your boy, Rich Boy J, has finally acquired a Cloud City Boba Fett. So the story behind this is actually pretty simple. Like, I was literally just strolling around on Facebook. I'm a member of many different Lego Star Wars Facebook groups. And a guy posts this, and he's like, it's for sale, $170. And I'm like, oh, I'm jumping all over that. This figure is so rare. Like, most of you probably know this. If you don't know it, I think the price for this would average anywhere around from like $270 to $320. So for me to find it for $170 was just a no-brainer for me. Like, I was just like, I just got to get it. Like, I don't know if I'll ever find an opportunity to find this figure that cheap. So I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. And I feel like a better man because of it. So this was, I think, one of the first Lego minifigures at all. It might have been the first one to sport arm printing. That's a real reason why this figure is so renowned at this point. It was a very unprecedented thing for them to do at the time. They decided to do this for the 2002 Cloud City set. And that set has so many other figures that are also expensive. And with this one knocked off of my list, really the last expensive figure I have to get from that set is the Cloud City Lando. So this is just, a step in the right direction for me in filling in a lot more of those expensive holes in my collection. But having this here in front of me is honestly kind of surreal. Like, this is a figure that I've seen a few times in person, but I've mostly only seen it through like pictures and videos. So to have it right here in my hands and to know that this is my Cloud City Boba Fett means the world to me. This is a very special moment for me as a Lego Star Wars collector, and I think anyone who, gets to acquire this, especially as cheaply as I did, would feel the exact same way. So in terms of the actual figure, like, for its time, it was very unprecedented to have the arm printing, and like the leg printing was also nice, and it has hip printing as well. Like, it's just, Lego really just went all out on this Boba Fett figure, which is so incredible. Like, I can imagine at the time, you're buying this set and you might pick this up and be like, no, this looks surprisingly detailed compared to most figures. And you might hold up, an older Boba Fett to it and be like, oh, now I see why there's so much more detail on this thing. And it just makes me so happy. Like, what can I say about this? I mean, this figure's been talked about so much in the community, and really, I'm just glad to finally have one. This was, I guess, the second most expensive figure on my list, like the most expensive one being the Chrome Gold C-3PO. So now that this is crossed off the list, my minifigure wall just feels so much more whole now. It feels just like it is like stepped up a level. So let's go ahead and throw these bad boys on the wall. All right, we didn't have too many figures to place this week, but we certainly had some important ones to place. Right off the bat, we're going to start off with the Gamorrean guard and Gonk droid. They're both chilling next to each other, next to the original Bib Fortuna. I actually got slightly concerned initially because I thought I had actually missed like a gap for a figure up here. But what I actually had done was I left out like where the original like big molded Jabba would have been up here. Basically this one, I just sat him down there because that would take up a lot of space up here. And I also left out space for the Boromar monk, which I actually don't have the original Boromar monk. But I was like looking at the figure numbers and being like, there should be more spaces here. What the heck have I done? But it was not an issue because I realized what I had done. And that was so crisis averted. Very glad that that wasn't an issue, especially so far up. And then, of course, we have our Cloud City Boba Fett. And man, this whole section right here, this is an expensive section of figures. We got the Cloud City Luke, Cloud City Leia, we got the Dagobah Luke, and Cloud City Boba Fett. Still got to get the Cloud City Han Solo. I mean, it's not really quote-unquote Cloud City Han Solo. It's just a standard Han Solo. But I just don't have that particular version of him. And I got to get that Cloud City Lando. That's going to be the one that I really need to get to just really fill in this section and complete those expensive Cloud City figures. So it was really a magical moment placing Boba up on this wall. Like, I'm probably going to look at this every time I pass this wall. But the wall has certainly evolved at this point. The last figure we placed was the Lando right here. So he is chilling next to Chris Madine. Realized I actually got to get the other version of Chris Madine. He has like different colored arms. And Mon Mothma, there's just a bunch of those Rebel figures from that Home One set kind of clustered in that area. But all in all, wall's looking pretty good. This isn't, like I said, the most holistic update in terms of really filling in holes. But I think one of the most important holes, the Cloud City Boba Fett hole, it's finally been filled, and it makes me a very happy boy. So that's really going to finish up the video, guys. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.